Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Strange Developer here. And for today's topic we are going to discuss one of the questions I'm quite often asked by either students or those who are interested in becoming developers. Uh, the question primarily is, how do I become a developer? One of the things that I like about the IT industry and becoming a developer is the fact that it really there is no specific path on how to become a developer. Usually you'd expect someone to simply have an education in IT or software engineering or a master's degree or whatever. However, in this industry things are slightly different because while many companies expect you to have some sort of certifications or a degree, it is not actually required, and this is because it boils down to your experience and skills. And I would say skills even more than experience to some extent, because it's a very interesting and creative profession in which your skill really can make it or break it in most cases. So, given all of these things, maybe you'd then like, how do I become a developer? It's still the question is still there. So I can only speak about myself as let's say a self-learned developer. I learned on my own without help, without courses, without anything. Well, I did take some courses online, but I mean, if you would really consider this as an education, okay, that's fine. But really, I am a self-learner. I learned on my own, and I proved myself through hard work and motivation. So to become a developer, the first thing you need to do is you need to learn some specific kind of skills that are demanded on the market. Now, of course, if I'm not going to dive super deep into all of the technologies and all the syntax and learning languages and frameworks and all of this, perhaps I can only name a few really super common things that any software engineer or developer is most likely expected to understand or have at least certain level of literacy in, or skill, let's say, to be more precise. So I know that a lot of you will be thinking, oh, C++, C Sharp, Java, PHP, JavaScript, or whatever. But let's slow down a little bit. It's not only programming languages, there are many aspects, many things that come into play. So, yes, programming language is perhaps, I would say it's the core thing, because without having the proper knowledge in the programming language, you are more likely you're really going to struggle, because writing code actually, in most of the times when you are working in a company, in a corporate environment, they will have some code or a product that is written in a certain code, and your skill in that code will make your life a lot easier when you start working on it. So the second thing you need to know about is Git, to be specific, basically version control system. And Git is most likely going to be the most common, uh, let's say, technology that you will encounter when it comes to version control. What is version controls? It's a mechanism in which helps you in continuous integration and continuous development when you are working with multiple people on the same, let's say, on the same code or the same repository. So version control helps you to control what code, like to maintain the code, to make sure that the code you have written is having some sort of versioning. So when if something goes wrong, or you'd like to make sure that your work isn't going to be accidentally deleted, you need to have kind of way to track your work, and version control system was invented specifically for this purpose. So most likely in the companies you will hear about Git. The next technology, which I think will be quite, let's say, essential, this is depending, of course, if you are the backend developer or a front-end developer, and I'll come to the differences between backend and front-end developer in a couple of minutes. Well, basically, you need to also know and understand databases. So you need to understand what is a database solutions, different products, Microsoft SQL, Postgre, MariaDB, and etc. etc. There are so many different solutions. However, in most of the cases, they all share common syntax, more or less, common basic syntax, which is SQL, unless we are talking about MongoDB, which is a different kind of solution, where it is called a NoSQL solution or a non-SQL solution, because it uses kind of a different sort of type of syntax. The next skill that will be essential for you to learn in order to become a developer is basically everything related to agile and how to manage the stories, the work, how do you organize, how do you collaborate with the team, and so on and so forth. And there are entire courses on this and books, so you can feel free to Google it and find more information about it. However, I would argue that this is something that you will learn by experience, because each company has its own agile style, or their own style of how to organize the work and distribute it among team members. The next topic that will be useful to learn about, or the next skill I would argue, is basically testing. Now, when I say testing, we need to make a distinction here, because there is a QA and there is a developer. Both QA and developers actually do testing. However, testing here for a developer may be different from a QA or a quality assurance engineer, in the sense that a developer basically is writing the test in the code itself, so the code is testing itself for in case someone made a mistake, or something went wrong, and you want to be able to spot these problems right from the start, in order to prevent any problems in production. So testing entails unit test and integration tests. You will find in most of the times that unit tests are always, let's say, in most companies they will write unit tests. However, integration testing can be a bit complicated depending on the company setup. So integration test, basically it's like, what does integration test mean? It means, how do you make sure that all of the components in the company system are integrated together properly, and actually are able to function and communicate with each other, and give the expected responses and the expected results. As for unit test, it's more about the testing, like writing unit tests or tests that cover different scenarios for a specific function, or a specific class, or a specific pattern. So understanding how to write unit tests, and knowing what is the best way to cover all of these things, all of this is covered in my courses. Check my courses in the description. I'm offering also in a really good discount, so you will find also the coupon code, which is Strange Developer. You can copy paste it from the description when you enroll into one of my courses, and you will get it for something like $10 or $12. It's really cheap, but very useful. And you can find there I have over 200 students so far who enrolled into my courses, and many people have actually found it very useful. And so check it in the description and uh, try it. Maybe you'll find some benefit from it. And if you don't find it useful, you can definitely get a refund from Udemy just by uh, requesting or canceling your enrollment there. Moving forward, the next skill that I would encourage you to learn is basically I would think you need to learn about system design. Now, what does system design mean? It means um, more about thinking in terms of architecture. How do you design the different the data flow between different components in such a way that it will make it easier for to maintain and also make your solution robust and very, very meaningful, and gives its best, depending on what kind of product you are developing, whether it's for a bank or some e-commerce or whatever. Having some system design knowledge is very useful. I would say when you work as a developer at the beginning, you're not going to be expected to have a huge knowledge in system design or architecture, but it's definitely always a welcome skill in most of the top, let's say top four or whatever the alphabets are of those companies. So try it. Try to find some information. I'm sure you'll find lots of books about it. Unfortunately, I'm not covering this yet in my courses, but I'm sure you will find many useful stuff on the internet and many good books that cover it very, very deeply. But let's say for a beginner, my courses wouldn't really be suited for um, seniors or more advanced skills. I would say it's more for beginners or those who are just interested in further improving themselves and improving their skill to the next level. Next, which is actually supposed to be the first, but I kind of I just woke up and I'm having my coffee, so forgive me for mixing stuff up. But really, actually, the first and most important skill that you really need to know and master is data structures and algorithms. Now, if you are a computer science student, I am 100% definitely sure that you will definitely come across this topic. Data structure and algorithms are extremely important because they enable you to write a proper code, more efficient code, and also more maintainable code. And without actually having a good knowledge of data structure and algorithms, it will be more complicated and more difficult for you and more frustrating to solve some simple problems. Therefore, I really encourage you to really, if you are taking data structure and algorithms, I know that they are really boring in your class. You will probably be listening to the teacher doing all of these math-like drawings or whatever. But hear me, you will thank me later if you put all your energy into data structure and algorithms. And I'm sure you'll find many useful courses. In my courses, I'm covering only a small part of it. Maybe indirectly you will come across data structure and algorithms. However, there are really good resources all over the internet about data structure and algorithms that are also for free. Um, However, I will leave this up to you because, of course, there are some places where you will find some uh, good quality material and resources, and somewhere where you will find maybe a little bit not so, not really the best or greatest quality resources that will help you learn and understand data structural algorithms. Data structural algorithms, it is kind of challenging at the beginning, but um, as you spend more time and practice to understand the concepts, don't memorize, understand the concept later on. You will find it incredibly useful, and employers will feel really happy to see that you have such a skill. The next skill that I think would be extremely useful is understanding design patterns. Now, I spoke earlier about system design. This is not to be confused with system design. Design patterns is basically a different topic. Basically, the question that design patterns answers to is, what is a way in which I can write my code for a specific problem that will make it easy to maintain and also solves the problem in a modular way. So to make it easy to maintain and easier to work with. For this, there are the design patterns. They are divided into three primary categories. The first, I think, is structural. You have structural. You have also what was it called? I will have to look it up really quick because unfortunately these terms are really easy to forget. So I'm just picking up. Yeah, so you have the structural pattern, the behavioral pattern, and the creational pattern. Those are the kind of things that if you are not thinking about them on daily basis, you probably forget them, so forgive me for that. However, I can explain to you what do these mean: creational pattern, structural pattern, and behavioral pattern. Basically, creational pattern is solving problems related to creating certain objects. Structural pattern is more about solving problems related to the structure of the code. And behavioral pattern is solving problems related to how the code behaves. Of course, you will find different utilities for these design patterns. I'm going to share a very useful resource to design patterns in the description if you're interested to read more about it. And of course, I'm not going to dive deeper because design patterns have so many, around 20 different pattern that you could learn and use. I will argue you are not actually going to see all of them at work. Maybe the maximum is you're going to work with 2 or 3 or 4, depending on what kind of job you're doing and what kind of product or code you're working with. It could really differ the depending on the company and depending on how they manage their code. So the next skill, which I would argue is as equally important as all of the other skills I've mentioned so far, is communication. Now, why is communication skills extremely important? Communication skills help you to work better with your team members. Now, why is this very critical? Communication skills are very critical because without communication, you will not be able to effectively work with your team members, and because you will have to collaborate with your team members, work together on the similar tasks to produce a good quality product. And having the communication skills will prevent a lot of misunderstandings, because at this kind of work you will it really involves criticism, it involves receiving feedback, understanding the intent of the person who's communicating with you, and how you need to work and improve yourself. So one of the issues that I often find like many managers I asked about what do you look for in a candidate, one of the main things I've been told unofficially was that they need someone really with an open mind. Now, with an open mind, it means they want someone who is open-minded enough to sit down and not feel offended if they're being told that they should do things differently or why they should change the way how they do things. And so basically, having the skill, communication, and being open-minded to receiving feedback is extremely important for the team, especially if you're working in a team. I don't think that you will go to a company and you will be the only developer working there. I'm sure that you will have different developers working together. So for that, I think that communication skills are very important, and being open-minded, and being open to feedback and criticism from time to time, assuming of course that you are working in a good work environment where innovation and creativity are actually promoted um, by your company and by your managers and team members. So these are all the skills I could think of. I'm sure there are many other things, but let me wrap up all the skills I've mentioned so far. So basically, communication skills, being open-minded, data structure and algorithms, a programming language, whether it's Java, C++, PHP. Well, PHP is not that much popular anymore. JavaScript, C++, Python, or whatever, any of these programming languages. Git, definitely a good knowledge in Git. Maybe I'm going also now to mention skills that I haven't mentioned so far. Aside from database, understanding databases and tables, understanding also how to work with operating system, things like command line, PowerShell, Bash script, how to automate things on the operating system, Git. There are also things such related to basically more, I would say, DevOps. DevOps are the people who are usually the team who are responsible of making sure that the product is deployed and running in different environments. But you will still encounter some DevOps work from time to time. So understanding topics such as Jenkins, GitLab, etc. These are also very useful skills. And yeah, that's design patterns, of course. These are very important. I can't think of any other skills aside from these, so I believe that this covers almost all of the skills you need to understand. Now, once you have actually got all of these skills and you already have your study plan and you're ready to take the courses, etc., you have to remember that what really is important, aside from just taking courses, is actually doing, because this is a profession where doing things is actually what will help you on the long run. So you should really try your best to practice, 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 practice. Never stop practicing. Make some hobby projects. Go to hackathons. Even if you don't know anything, even if you really still feel lost, you need to be brave. Go ahead, try, ask questions, and never ever feel shy to ask someone for help. If you feel that you don't understand anything, go ahead and ask for help, because you should never be expected to know everything or understand everything, because this is how usually developers work. You try to understand what you're working with, and if you don't have firsthand all the knowledge you need, ask questions, ask for help. This will be way faster than struggling, bashing bashing your head to the wall or to the keyboard or whatever, and trying to figure things out by trial and error. Of course, you should definitely try. Maybe I would say, if you find yourself stuck on something, spend, give it an hour maximum. Give it an hour, try to understand it. If you can't, if you really feel that you are stuck and you're lost and you can't move on anymore, it's okay, absolutely fine to ask for help. You could ask your colleagues, you could post it on Stack Overflow, you could go to any other similar forums, ask questions. And the nice thing about being a developer is that developers are really, I would say, it's a very friendly environment. Developers help each other to solve problems. They come together, they will help you, give you the information you need, and this is very, very useful on the long run. So I hope that you found this video useful. You will find, again, if you would like to upgrade your skills, or if you are already a beginner and you would like to learn more, feel free to check my courses in the description. Once you click there, it will take you to my Udemy page, and then you will see the list of courses I'm currently offering. Use the coupon in the description, and you will get a massive discount on the course. So I hope you found it useful, and we'll be talking to you or seeing you in the next video. Have a nice day.